all sanded to 400 grit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to texture some of the top of this so that we can finish it off. But I want to put a little line in there, and there is where I'm going to go up to with the texturing, and then we can move on from there. So first things first is we'll put a little tiny line in there. So we'll just get our skew, I think would be the best way. So we're just going to put a line in here. Like that, and we'll put another one here somewhere. Trying to keep them similar. And what we're going to try and do, we're going to texture in between those lines. And then what we're going to do is we're going to then put another little line, just a mark on this one, just so we know where to hollow out. On about the same sort of width either side of that. And what we'll do is we'll undercut that a little bit, just to make it actually look decent. Or you could turn it into a tea light holder, which I might actually do. Actually, I might turn it into a tea light holder, but we'll see what happens. So we're now going to texture this. I have a burr piece here, or a grinding piece, metal grinding piece. So I'm going to use this to texture, similar to what I've just practiced in the middle there with, all over it. I'm going to try and get it, so it's not actually perfect. Don't want no pattern to it. It's just got to be random. So we're going to see what we get out of it. But we don't want to try and go over our edge. All textured. Gone over the lines in a few places, but what I was going to do is I was going to leave that so just got a natural line, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that back a little tiny bit so it looks like the texture ramps up to it. So I think that'll look slightly better. Just got a wire brush here. Just going to run over this just to take some of the fluffy bits off of it. What I want to do now is I just want to take these bits off here. Actually, no, I don't. I want to do this first. So I'm going to sand and seal this piece. Then we're going to put some gesso on there. And then we can move on to do what we've got to do on top of that. So let's just get a brush. So a little bit of sand and sealer. Brush that in. We get good coverage of that. All textured, all sand and sealed. What we're going to do now is got to paint this black with some black gesso because we need a black background. Then we can let that dry. Then we can put our size over the top of that. And then after the size is touch dry, we're ready to put over our camellia stroke color change and powders. And that should give us our 3D look. And then we can just take this edge back, and then turn out this little bit in the middle here. Like I said, it's going to be a decorative piece more than a usable piece, but it's looking good. I like that. The texturing takes a bit of time, but it's worth it in the long run. You do get a nice effect in the long run, so it's worth it in the long run. But we'll see what it likes. We'll leave that to dry, and then we'll come back and put some gesso on it. Got my black gesso. This came from the range, so we will give this a coat of gesso. I'm not going to take the lid completely off because I don't want a lot, so just going to paint this, making sure I get right in all the nooks and crannies. So a nice even coverage over it. This just gives us a black background for our colour that we're going to be putting over it. But you want to make sure you get all a nice even coat over it. As you can see, you don't need a lot. Covers really, really well. So nice coverage. Make sure we're not missing those spots. Make sure we've got it everywhere we want to be. And we'll let that to dry. And then we will come back when that's dry and put our size over the top of that. We're now ready to put the size on. This is gold leaf size. So I've just given it a good shake. We want a nice, not a huge amount of coat over it, but enough to obviously cover it. We don't really want to leave it really wet. It wants to be quite an even coat around it, because if not, it won't dry even, and then we'll be waiting for bits to go off, and it'll just be a pain. So we've got to try and get a nice, fairly even coat on it. So you're better off putting it on and then just spreading it over nice and even, so you end up with a nice little sheen to it. You don't want bits looking like that where it's really wet in places and not wet in the other places. So you just got to try and brush all the wet bits out of it. This will take about 20-25 minutes to go off. And then we should be ready to apply our powder over the top of it. Making sure we get right in that groove there, because when I tell, I want to try and leave a nice sharp line in there of the black. So we're just going to leave that to dry, and then we'll come back when that's touch dry and we're ready to put our powder over the top of that. This is all dry now. It's still tacky, but that's what the size does. It'll stay tacky for a certain amount of time. So I have here the Intense Camellia powders and the Chameleon Flakes, both from Emma the Tiny Turner. I will put her website link in the description below. These come in nice little pots, and they change colour. I don't know if you'll see them change colour, but there's several different ones in this one pot. You got pink into blue, green into blue. That looks like pink into gold. That looks like blue, green, and pink or purple. And then that one's sort of blue into pink as well. So I'm going to go with this one. It's got like a blue, a green, and a reddy colour in it too as well. So I'm going to use the flakes. This is the first time I've used these. And then the powders are very similar. If I can get one out. So very similar, but they're very small pots. You need hardly any at all to put these on. So what you need is a nice soft brush. So I've got a makeup brush here, or a soft makeup brush. Again, these are all available from Emma's website. So like I say, description will be in the below. So a nice soft brush, and all we're doing is just dipping in our powders and swirling it about. We don't need massive amount because you don't want to waste it, because it's, you want to try and save as much as you can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use off the lid first. I'm just going to brush that on. So you don't need massive amount. We want to try and cover our whole bit that we're going to be doing. We want to try and get right down into that size. So we're going to work that in. Similar sort of principle what you'd be doing gold leaf. With that texturing, it should sort of give you that shimmery look of the different colours in the flakes, which is what we're going for. So we're just going to work that into our texture. And hopefully on the camera you can see the different colours coming into it. So we're just making sure we rub that well into our size so it sticks well. Like I say, the pots don't look like there's a lot in a pot, but you don't need a great deal to cover your piece. And the good thing with the bit of texturing is it just gives it that sort of different angles to make the colours look different as it glimmers in the light. If it was just flat, then it would look all one colour until you moved it. But with the bit of texturing, it sort of brings in those different glimmers of the different colours in the Chameleon Flakes. Like I say, this is the flakes. There is a powder one as well, but depending on what you want to do, I purchased both. I was lucky enough to see Emma at a demo in Lincolnshire, and she was demonstrating them, and I was lucky enough to get hold of both of them. So, right, so we're just going to make sure we got that all rubbed in. So we're going to put a lid back on this one. Oh, the bits floating around, man. It's horrendous. We're just going to rub that in a little bit. Making sure we've got it all in. Put the extraction on. I hope that'll suck all the floaty bits up. So as I move that, you should be able to see the colour change on it, which is what we was looking for. So let's just screw that back on there. We'll just let that dry, and then we'll come back and turn those bits off. And then I'm going to put something over the top of that just to seal it in. I'm not sure what I'm going to put over it yet, but it may be just a little dusting of clear lacquer. But if it doesn't come off, then I may just leave it, to be honest. But we'll let it dry and see what happens. I don't know how far I got before I didn't press record, but as you can see, I've turned this edge down now, so we've got a nice tight line in there. Turn the edge down, so we've got a nice tight line in there. I've just caught the colouring on the edge here. So what I've done is I've just took a little tiny bit of size on them edges there where I've caught. I'm just going to stick some more of the flakes over the top of it, just so it covers up that little tiny bit that I've caught. Just caught it with the sandpaper, which I didn't want to do, but hey ho, it is what it is. So we're just going to let that go off a little bit, and then we will get it, what do you call it? We'll get it just touched up with a little bit of the flakes, and then she should be ready to go. So I'll come back to you when it's all finished. So a little bit in there is repaired now. We've polished it all up, so we'll get it out and have a look. Like I say, I'm not sure how far it was before. For some reason it didn't record, but when I watch it back I'll check it out. So when we turn the back, I put this little tenon on there, but I actually kept that as the foot, so it sits nice on the table. It's a gentle curve, as you can see, just a gentle curve going around. We sanded the back up to 240 grit, then we sand and sealed it. Then we used Yorkshire grit to take it up to about 1000 grit. Then we gave it 2 coats of high gloss Hampshire Sheen wax to give that nice sheen to it, as you can see. So then the top, we flattened the top off. I then used the Dremel with a burr piece to texture the top. The idea of the texture is so when you put the camellia paint on it, or the flakes on it, you get different height definitions and different shapes, so you get that different variation in colors when the light hits it. So then what we did is, once we'd done that, we textured it, we sand and sealed it. We then gave it a coat of black gesso. Once the gesso was dry, we gave it a coat of same size stuff as what you use if you're doing gold leafing. Once the size was dried, we then put our camellia flakes over the top of it, and then we took it out of the Simon Hope carving jig and put it back on the lathe, and then we turned these edges down nice and tight, so we got a nice tight line all the way around the outside and on the inside. Sanded the 400 grit, sand and sealed, and then 2 coats of high gloss wax to give it a nice shine in the middle. Like I said all along, it's more of a decorative piece and a usable piece, but the main thing was this showing off this effect on the edge here. So that was the main reason for the project. I will stick a link in the description below. So for Emma Cook's or the Tiny Turner's website, so this is where I got these from, so you can go over and check these out. I would really recommend getting them. They're such effect, and like I say, it doesn't look a lot in a pot, but the pots there is quite a lot, because I used hardly any on this project. So there's quite a lot in there, and yeah, well worth the money. I think it's just so many different colors and techniques, and just opens another level for your work. So yeah, really good. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for coming over and watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, then please smash that like and share button. If this is the first time to your channel, then I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, then please consider subscribing. If you haven't already subscribed, then please do. It helps the channel, it helps everybody else as well, so that would be very much appreciated. So other than that, thanks for coming and watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Till the next one, take care, speak to you soon, and bye for now.